Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video. And in this video, I want to talk to you about the cure to abandonment issues and like where this really comes from, why we experience this in the first place, and some really practical, tangible action steps we can take to create some major transformation. So if anybody's ever experienced abandonment issues, they do not feel good. They often feel really scary. You can sort of feel the like hurt, panic, anxiety, all kind of bubbling up in your body. A lot of tension usually is being held in like your chest, your shoulders. And, for those of you who have experienced this sort of emotional response, you often can feel like you're like almost like a little child again, like a little kid, like needy, afraid, and just really needing to like attach and hold on to something to regain that sense of certainty, safety, closeness, connection, nurturing, and all these things really seem to be missing. But what I want you to understand about this is usually the byproduct of past imprints from previous experiences. So what does that mean? Past imprints from previous experiences. It essentially means if you were exposed to repeated feelings of abandonment in childhood, because maybe there was a lot of incongruency in childhood, parents are really emotionally available and then they worked a lot, or one parent's super available, another parent's more disconnected emotionally. What the child experiences growing up in that sort of dynamic is a lot of like closeness being taken away, closeness being taken away. And what this does is because the subconscious is programmed through repetition plus emotion, it basically programs your subconscious to have all of these imprints gathered that are, essentially you feeling the experience of abandonment, associating that with pain, and then just sort of like you can imagine your subconscious to be this giant filing cabinet. It's like overflowing with files connected to abandonment. Now, when you're a child, part of why this can be such a painful and challenging experience is because you don't usually know how to meet your own needs. And in fact, when you're a child up until a certain age, you're essentially completely dependent on your caregivers for survival. So when they go away, or when that attunement or closeness or connection is cut off, it can actually trigger this like survival-oriented anxiety and panic that usually isn't restored until you have that attachment figure close to you again. And so what I want you to understand is like the reason abandonment scares you is because you're operating under pretenses that were programmed into you from childhood that say, without somebody else, my needs won't get met. But here's the really interesting thing. When you're an adult, that's not the case anymore. And if you can retrain your own subconscious mind to learn that you are able to meet your own needs, take care of your own needs, protect yourself, support yourself, nurture yourself, and really stick up for yourself in the world, once you can program how to get your subconscious to see that it's possible to meet your own needs, caretake for you, now you're not living an adult life by childhood programs and fears that have been impressed upon your subconscious mind. And this is actually the cure to abandonment issues and like your ticket to freedom. So what does this mean? Well, first of all, you actually have to begin showing up in the relationship to yourself and work on the relationship to yourself and sort of teaching your subconscious repetitively over time until there's new programming there that like, hey, I can fully nurture and caretake for myself. This doesn't mean that we won't get value and benefit and feel great about having relationships to others and attaching to other people and connecting. It just means that we won't assume or feel like there's a survival threat the moment there's any disconnect that takes place. It doesn't have to be experienced in such extreme polarities. We can still miss people. We can still really enjoy connecting with them, but it won't feel like to our nervous system and our subconscious mind, it's like this matter of life or death. And so the really key and interesting ways, there's a lot you can do. I talk a lot about this in different videos throughout this channel, but there's also a really in-depth course that's literally the anxious attachment reprogramming course. You can try it for free for 7 days by clicking the link in the description box below. It'll actually help you to like reprogram any attachment issues you have related to abandonment and goes really in detail in terms of like how to reprogram your core wounds. And this is what we really need to do to get rid of abandonment issues. We need to learn to reprogram our core wounds so we can stop fearing abandonment and assuming and projecting this assumption of abandonment the moment we see a change in the pattern. We have to reprogram our fear of being alone. Okay. And these are like belief reprogramming activities. And then we want to combine this with us being able to really show up and meet our own needs consistently And do this repetitively. And this really means identifying your needs, understanding what they are, and being able to show up for these needs in the relationship to yourself consistently enough that your subconscious mind over time actually gets retrained to feel like, oh, I am safe to meet my own needs. And it builds trust around your own capacity to meet your needs. What often happens with anxious, preoccupied individuals is people who struggle with abandonment trauma, they tend to, and fearful avoidance can too, just, just usually much less so when it comes down to it. What happens to these individuals is you get into a dynamic where it's like, you keep reliving this pattern and you keep hoping like, oh, somebody else is going to fix this for me. So you keep looking outside of you to solve the problem when like the reality is the only way you can really solve for this problem is when you solve it doing an inside job, like doing you showing up in the relationship to self, you being able to sort of become the consistent figure in your life that you've always needed. And really it's in relationship to your needs. And so when you can identify your needs, meet them consistently, build that trust, this is going to be major and huge. And this also includes things like setting boundaries, being able to, allow yourself to take up space, take yourself into consideration when making decisions. And when I say meet our own needs, like a really simple example is maybe you have a need for reassurance or validation. Okay, how can you encourage yourself, reassure yourself, validate yourself on a regular basis, and do this consistently enough that you actually can become your own source of getting your needs met? So this is really the cure to abandonment issues. Again, if you want to do a much deeper dive and you want to go through a course, it's got like worksheets, step-by-step workbooks, everything outlined, everything super clear for you. You can click the link below and check out the course for free for 7 days. And it will really help guide you through like belief reprogramming and how to identify your needs and all these different things. So just when you click the link, it is the Anxious Attachment Reprogramming course. I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.